Okay, so check this out real quick. This is the whole thing broken down. You've got your liners, you've got your scales, one nylon washer on one side, one bronze on the other pivot. Interesting, here's the other half of the pivot screw with this little washer, little rubber O-ring that goes in there. The whole knife right here can be taken down with one Torx T8, which is pretty cool. And then you only need the T6 for the pocket clip if you want to do that. Really, these screws over here on this side are what's holding everything together. They go through the scales into the liner and then secure it into the other side of the liner, whereas these ones on this side just hold the scales onto this liner. So this is what the whole thing looks like taking down, and then backspacer. It's very easy to do. I want to show you that on the other side of this scale over here, you can see all the channeling cut in for that auto locks little switch. It's very easy to get rid of. So I'm not going to have to duplicate this or anything on the inside of the new scale because we're not using it. So this is what the whole thing looks like broken down, and it's very quick, very easy to do. It'll stay like this for a while, for as long as I'm working on the blade, I guess, doing all this grinding and everything to avoid getting all sorts of metal shavings and everything into the pivot and all that. Rather than having to open it up and clean it out, I'll just work on it like this, tape up the blade. So, all right, real quick view. There you go. Welcome back. Here we are finishing up the Columbia River Knife and Tool M16-14ZSF project I've been working on. Once again, here is the original, right out of the package, not modified at all. Plastic, fake wood scales. You got your, what CRKT calls the folding fixed blade hilt. You've got your ridiculous safety lock that nobody likes or has any use for whatsoever. Still super smooth right out of the package, but Tanto style blade, and once again your full hilt. So I had a couple goals, a couple things I wanted to work on with this knife when I started working on it. So here's the original. So here's mine. Several differences. Most notable right now, of course, got rid of these fake wood scales. Did it in the layered OD green and black G10. I know the color's not great, at least not on this little video monitor, but if you can't tell, I'll also include some pictures at the end taken in actual daylight. This is a really nice OD and black pattern right here. And of course scales on both sides. Columbia River was nice enough to ship me some free screws. If you remember, there's one missing right there, and I want to give their customer service a shout out right now because they were phenomenal. It got here in about a week, and shipping anything over here in just a week is really awesome. But I got this nice little bag with not only a full set of frame screws, 2 for each side. These are a little bit longer than these ones, just the way the knife is put together. But they also gave me a little T8 Torx driver, which is really cool to have to use on all the frame screws. So CRKT, your stupid lock system really annoys me, but on the other hand, your customer service is amazing, so thank you. Big shout out to those guys. So I no longer have a missing screw in the knife. It's fully assembled now, which is great. The action is as smooth as ever. I'm about halfway done with the blade. I'll talk about what else needs to be done to the metal later, but you'll see I ground away that Tanto shape into a drop point. The shiny areas over here, there's already a swedge that comes in the knife. What I did here was just I ground off a little bit of metal. The G10 scales add just so much weight over the plastic, and to try to balance that out, I tried to take a little bit of the metal off the swedge right here in the front. I figured it wouldn't change too much about the knife if I did that, and it was a really easy fix. I wanted to drill out holes in the liners, but I only had some small drill bits, so it would take forever to make enough holes or to combine them, you know, in a pattern to make a big hole. So that was a pretty quick, easy solution, and it worked. I still have a really nice point right there. Have a nice large belly cutting surface now on the knife, which I find more practical than the Tanto for just general field utility use. Another big thing you'll notice is instead of the complete folding fixed blade hilt that I never was a fan of, if you remember in the earlier portion of the video, I said this tends to get stuck in the pocket a lot and is inconvenient and gets in the way. So I went ahead and cut it off, and I got an idea in the middle of it. Why just get rid of it when I can use it? So I cut it at a little bit of an angle right there, and then I used the Dremel and a steel cutting wheel to put some jimping in there. And I know it's not pretty, so you don't need to say it, but it's my first attempt doing anything like that, so cut me some slack, but I'm actually pretty proud of it. And I got the angle just right and the cut just right. Even though it's not exactly even or pretty, your thumb gets right in there and it really gives you a good grip. So if you're using this in any kind of field condition, wet condition, you can get a really good grip on the knife and get some good support right there for it. So that was a pretty good idea, and I like the way it looks too as well. I thought about grinding a finger choil in right there. I saw another video online where someone had done that with, I want to say, an Enlon E01 maybe, but I'm not very good at working with metal yet. It's really my first time doing any kind of heavy modification on a blade, so I figured baby steps. I'll go ahead and put the jimping in there and maybe worry about the choil later, but the theory being just to give you a good choke up right there and to really have good control of the knife and the blade in all situations. But this works just fine. And I thought about modifying the flipper too, making it a little bit smaller, but I didn't know how it would work if I lost the leverage of having your finger right up there, and I didn't want to risk it because I love the way this knife opens. It's super smooth. Going back to the handle, now that we talked about that, I retained holes here and here and here, so you can still take this clip and modify it right hand, left hand, tip up, tip down, to make it fit nice and snug and get good pocket retention. Though I did have to grind down a little flat area there, so if I wanted to go ahead and switch it, there should be just enough space for the screws to grab and hold the clip on, but obviously that's not a flat, even surface. If I'm going to be using this, I'm going to be carrying it right-handed, tip up all the time, so I just left it like that. If I end up passing this on to anybody, or anybody's going to be using it for a significant amount of time and needs the clip in another format, I can go ahead and just put a quick grind in there and flatten that out and put the clip on either side. But the clip holds really tight, a little too tight right now, but you can get it in and out of the pocket easily. I'm worried about a little bit of pocket shred with this, but as I've been using it, the clip is actually loosened up a bit, and I expect it to continue loosening up, so that'll be fine right there. The centering, when you close the knife, went back together, centering is just about perfect. Went back nice and smooth, really well done. Again, some grind marks on the metal, but that's okay, because the next step is I'm going to take this completely apart again when I get home. I can't do this out here, unfortunately, so it's going to be a while, but I'm going to take off the finish over here on the blade and on the liners. I'm going to sand down the screws a little bit just to rough them up, and I'm going to use either CRKT or Duracoat to turn all the hardware and the blades kind of a flat black color, which I think will go really well with this and turn it into a true tactical field type of knife. The clip as well, by the way, is going to be black. I don't know, I've used gun coat extensively. I've never used Duracoat or CRKT, but I know there are some people that swear by the Duracoat and love it. I've seen CRKT coatings before. It's on some of my Benchmades. I've seen it on some firearms as well, so it's pretty good. And the actual process, I know they want you to go through their NIC certification, but I'm pretty good with an airbrush, actually, and all sorts of coatings and paintings that I've been doing for a long time. So I feel pretty confident giving it a shot, especially having watched the instructional video. I don't know right now what I'm going to use. So you guys have any suggestions, please, in the comments, let me know. What do you think, Duracoat or CRKT, which is a better coating? But really, this is stainless steel, and so is stainless in here, so I'm not so much worried about corrosion. That's not why I'm doing it. It's really just for the look of it all. To make it look a little bit more professional, to give it more of a uniform look, more of a tactical look. Backspacer came out very well. Yeah, I know somebody's going to comment that the tolerance here is a little loose, because I know I'm just about to take it apart again anyway. But you had just enough extra G10 to do the backspacer there. These handles, actually, I thought they would fit on a standard 5-inch set of scales. They're just over 5 inches, and as it turns out, as I was just fitting, just test fitting some other scales to it, these OD green and black ones were the only ones long enough to cover this entire handle. This is a 5-inch one. It's just shy of fitting to cover this entire thing, even if you try to angle it or something. So I lucked out there. So anybody that wants to do this knife is going to have to get a larger piece of G10 than just the standard scale sets available. And I have had several people at work, as I was walking around with this and showing it off, working on it. Again, would I sell this to them? How much do I want for it? People really love this one, even more so than the Kershaw did, because it's a larger knife, much more of a tactical look, and they love the pattern. They think, until I explained to them about layered G10, that I somehow did this myself, and then I had to explain, look, it's just the way you cut it, it's the way the G10 comes. I should have just left it and said, yeah, I'm awesome. But by the way, another thing right here that some people think are mistakes, I ground this intentionally. I know it doesn't match the rest of the pattern, but I wanted to give my thumb a nice little ramp to get to the liner lock over there, which is why that's the way it is. And it also gives it a good place to just go and find itself when I want to open it as well. So that's intentional. Also, it looks a little rough around the pivot screw parts. I had a theory. I was going for a recessed, angled edge around it, just like it's angled on the outside. The idea was great. The execution didn't turn out as well as I wanted. It doesn't affect the functionality at all whatsoever. It's still really solid, perfect lockup, and everything's in there. It's just the way it looks didn't quite match up to what I had imagined. So if I ever try to do that again, you can just sort of see the G10 layered effect in there, and that's what I was going for. Something a little bit uneven, like the outside area over here, but something that still showed off the G10. It just kind of looks sloppy. I won't do that again in the future if I'm doing one of these. So there it is. Came out beautiful as far as I'm concerned, keeping in mind that I'm still within my first 5 actual G10 or custom knife projects, so this is pretty good for me. Once I get the metal all ground down and the coating removed and recoated with black, I think it's going to look phenomenal. I mean, just amazing. Something else I'm going to try right here in the very near future, the large M16-14 has a little brother. It's the CRKT M16-12. I guess the look of this one is designed to be a little bit more tactical, more field-oriented, black clip, black screws and everything, but still satin blade. I don't understand that. But I've already taken the ridiculous lock off of this one. This belongs to one of the troops here who wanted something done with it. And they actually took me up on my offer. You get the knife, you get the G10, and I'll go ahead and work it. So they picked some toxic, what we're calling over here zombie killer green, and I'll do the scales up in the zombie green. Not sure what pattern they're going to want yet, but this is what's in the future, and of course I'll be showing it to everybody when I'm done for some more comments. I like the fact that this has a much bigger backspacer, which just adds some more color when you're working with this, and this being a smaller knife, I'll have more than enough to do the backspacer and the handle over here without worrying about running out of anything. So since I'm going to have a little extra G10 on the second scale, someone else picked up this. It's a weird little knife. I've never seen it before. Coast? I don't know. It says titanium on the blade, but then it says stainless, and it's kind of an interesting shape. It's got a very interesting closing mechanism. It's a liner lock, I guess, sort of, but it has a button over here you press. Fold. If you hold it down, it won't close, so you press the button, start to close it, let it go, and fold it. It's a very cheap knife. It's got aluminum or steel frame. I don't know what it is. Just something somebody had, and they wanted to do a little something with it. So while I can't do actual scales, these little rubber pads I figured out come up, and my idea is to maybe take the extra toxic green and do an inlay on it and see what I can come of that. So if there are any good ideas out there, please by all means in the comments again let me know, because this is just something done sort of on a whim for fun to see what I can do with it, and I'd like to do something with it because it's pretty weird looking. But I'm absolutely addicted to working on this stuff and doing the custom knife stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's a great use of time. It's a good feeling of accomplishment when it's all said and done. Please tell me what you think. Tell me what I could have done better. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me what you really like. Tell me what you don't like at all. And sending emails or messages is fine too. I've gotten more feedback through just messages than actual comments, and I'm totally okay with that. If you have something cool to say, share it for everybody. That's all. So I hope you like this version of the CRKT M16. I do. And I'll be back again soon with another project.